Hi, I'm Sarah, a customer service representative here at Printing Center USA, and welcome back to Behind the Print podcast, where we feature industry leaders and uncover a creative mind and their businesses within the world of professional printing. Our mission is to provide you with actionable, inspiring resources that elevate your business projects and accelerate your journey to excellence in profit and print. Today's episode is Every Loss Matters, honoring babies and navigating holiday grief. We are talking about healing, support, and how one organization is changing the way families and communities understand pregnancy and infant loss. Joining me today is the founder and CEO of Chasing the Rainbows, Bernice Queensberry.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Sarah. This means the
Yeah,
world.
thanks for being with us. This is super exciting. So, for anyone who is new to your work, who do you serve at Chasing the Rainbows, and what does your mission look like in everyday life?
Absolutely. So we service anyone who is living with infertility that has gone through pregnancy and infant loss, and anyone who is pregnant after loss. And we are doing it based on a daily approach model to that because our grief, it doesn't just fit into that once a month support group or a once a week therapy. So we want to make sure someone's feeling that connection immediately and when they're going through it. And also, these are traumatic losses. So making sure when they're having trauma responses that they're able to feel that sense of connection and unity and that they're, alongside other peers who are also going through these types of losses or have been through these types of losses. So our mission is really to do a daily support model and create that safe space and give people what they need and seek when they need and seek it.
Awesome. That's really good to have for the community, especially with mothers that do need that extra support because that is a very traumatic experience for anyone to go through.
Absolutely. And, with our Every Loss Matters, really putting it out there, we have to use the terms miscarriage and pregnancy loss for Google to find us on our website. As you can understand with marketing, it's all about SEO terms and all of that. But in all
Right.
reality, we educate people. These are early term baby losses. And using terms like chemical pregnancies, those kind of things, instead of saying baby loss, that really validates someone and they can feel seen and heard because these really are our babies and our futures and everything changes with that and the traumatic loss of our baby itself, but then all the secondary losses that come alongside of it too.
Right. Yep. It's always a tough one to get over. So, what are the most common challenges or needs you help families and supporters navigate?
Yes. So it really is that mental health support, right? So we break down the barriers with making it easily accessible to people to be able to get into a room where they can feel comfortable with other peers that are going through the same thing that they're going through. So we have broken this down to make it as easy as possible on people. You literally can just send us an email right on our website to say, like, contact form, your name, email address, and I lost a baby. And then from there, within 24 hours, we're getting you connected. You fill out a form for us, which is less than 10 questions. And it's really just like your name, address, and what services you're seeking, what hospital you were at, or, who your OB is. And then also understanding if you want a care package or if you want therapy, that we're going to have to send you something or get you connected to our therapist. But in all reality, we do up to 4 support groups a day. We do 18 every week in those 3 different buckets, like the infertility, the pregnancy and infant loss, and the pregnancy after loss. And we do that morning, afternoon, and night because we want it to fit into someone's schedule, but then also make it convenient for them with how they're grieving. We do peer mentors who reach out to them, who have a similar lived experience to them, and they do those daily check-ins, especially those first months and years right after their loss. We do individual trauma therapy, which is free. They get connected to a therapist. They don't have wait times. They don't have those 90-day waits. They don't have to, have those extra bills if insurance doesn't cover it, all of those things. So we're breaking down the barriers with that too. But if someone doesn't want to talk in support group, if they don't feel like talking to a mentor or a therapist, we have our podcast that they can listen to, Cried Out Loud, on all major platforms, all around different topics with living with loss. We do our online private communities, chat communities where they can get on, they can narrate, they can just like word, we call it trauma dump. You can just put down the words on paper and send it to a room full of people who it's private and they know what you're going through because they're also going through it. the yoga, breathwork, meditation, nervous system regulation videos we have, and monthly sessions. We have one tonight, actually, where, movement is a part of grief. If somebody wants to move their body, that's an expression of it, and getting it out, right, is another healthy outlet. Care packages, self-care packages, making sure, bubble bath, those kind of things. We partner with Leanne Action, and they give you different tools and resources. And we're getting ready to launch our own guided journal coloring books with positive affirmations, because we're a non-religious, non-political organization. So we have put these together to make it all around the losses and guide people with that. We're also doing community events and advocacy where, we're doing our bursting bubble runs, we're doing our gala, we're doing different events that people want to host who are lost parents, who want to repurpose their pain and really get it out there, to educate people on the things not to say and how to really sit with someone in their loss and when they're going through these types of losses. And then the last thing we do is connect people to resources. So if they need funeral assistance, if they need medical bill assistance, those kind of things, we partner with different organizations who are doing that great work and that can take on the volume of our lost parents that are coming to us.
Wow, sounds like you've got a plate full, but it's absolutely amazing. And what is the word? Just
Yeah. And what's really
speechless what
important. Yeah.
you guys do to for the community and everybody out there that needs that extra assistance or somebody to talk to, or even if they don't want to talk, to have those resources opened for podcasts and stuff like that. That's absolutely amazing. And then the accessibility, the open times is just for people that, do have may not have time at that time, but would really want to go to a
Yes.
meeting and stuff like that. That's, man, that just blows my mind. And I absolutely love that with an organization being able to have that many resources and be that opened
Yes.
to
Oh, thanks,
willing
Sarah.
to help somebody. So that is absolutely amazing. And I applaud you. I completely
Thank you.
applaud.
Thank you.
Um,
And yeah, we can't do it without, our volunteers, without our donors, without our supporters behind us, because when you really think about trauma or you think about anything hard that you go through in life, right? Any difficult situation, you really do need, especially those first days, weeks, months right after you go through it, having that support and being able to know where to turn with someone who also went through it. If you're going through, let's say all of a sudden you get lice or something, you're going to reach out to someone that already had lice and how they treated it and what they did, and ask for their advice on it, so then you can find your own way with it. And it's like this, when you lose a parent, you lose your past. When you lose a baby, you lose your future, and that's at any stage or age. So learning how to live and learning, a new future without all of your babies in your arms is so difficult to do. So, how can you turn to someone who also is walking this journey that can help you form your own way? You can find different opinions. You can talk through difficult situations, like how do you navigate the holidays? How do you navigate anniversaries, birthdays, like all of those things? Because then getting that advice from someone who's walked your journey just like you have is so much more powerful than being told in a medical setting or anything like that, like how to handle your grief or things that you should do. And it's like, if your sentence starts with you should, or at least, you probably just shouldn't say it,
right.
So
Or
yeah.
when you're sitting there, you're dealing with the grief, and all they do is just hand you a pamphlet. Here is
Yeah.
some local therapist. That's not,
Yeah.
it's like, no, that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
having this organization is absolutely amazing. And I think
Thank
can
you.
will make the world a lot better place for those grieving mothers out there.
Thank
How do you go about supporting people through those experiences and creating safe spaces for them?
Oh, yes, love this. So we do a virtual model right now. We are getting ready to do in-person models where people are starting groups, wherever they live and things like that. They're a Chase the Rainbows volunteer. So all of our volunteers go through trauma-informed training. And the reason being for that, if they're doing any of the peer support services, one, because they're peers with lived experience, so making sure that they don't get re-traumatized, but two, that we're able to recognize, crisis and trauma responses and things like that. So we create safe spaces by allowing someone to join group whenever they need or seek it, but then also from their own safe space. So they don't have to walk back into a hospital who's hosting a support group. They don't have to get ready and maybe head into a church or a religious organization when they're questioning their God, their Allah, whatever they believe in, their higher power. We're really breaking down those barriers because I know for myself, it was really hard to get out of bed those first weeks, months after. And for me to get ready to walk into a room where I know I'm going to be talking about my loss or I'm going to be hearing about it was really hard to get in the car, to drive myself there, to get out of the car, to go into the room with a room full of strangers. So having that virtual model really breaks down all those barriers. You can jump into a group. If you don't like what you see or hear, jump out, but at least you tried. And if that's not a source or you don't think like you're able or willing to hear someone yet, and you really need it to be about your loss and you talking through that, peer mentor and therapy is what's for. So having it that it's really about what they need in those moments, because it's also something to understand things that worked for me and other horrible situations or hard situations that I've been in life didn't work during this time for coping. So doing, these different healthy coping skills where they can find something that maybe they can relate to or they'd want to try in a free setting. And then maybe that is their go-to then, like journaling or listening to a podcast, talking it out in talk therapy and those things. But yeah, by having it virtual, by making it easily accessible, all of that, we are creating those safe spaces for them.
That's absolutely amazing. What makes Chasing the Rainbow stand out in the world of pregnancy and infant loss support?
So it is really that daily approach model. We have not, there's not an organization that we know of in our space that does as many support groups as we do, that has their volunteers who are trauma informed trained, and that offer this array and comprehensive package of support services. There's a lot of organizations doing great work in our space. So I do want to recognize that. And we use them a lot as partners. And we're not the be all end all. That's the thing too. It's really not about us. It's not about what we think people need or anything like that. We've created this model. We have these services and they're available for them. But maybe our organization isn't someone, they don't relate to it or they need something else. We refer them or we partner with other organizations in our space too, because there might be a better fit for them. And we want to make sure that it's what they need. And that is the most important thing. So we want to make sure that if someone's coming to us and they're looking for a resource, they're looking for something specific and they're stuck on it, right? They're like, I need this and this. And it's like, great, let's now that we have you, we don't want you to feel that loneliness, that isolation. We don't want you to feel that panic, that overwhelming moment. If we can get you connected to whatever you need, we're going to do that. And that's really what it's all about.
Awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, being able to be open to, instead of, sorry, we can't help you, it's, hey, you've came to us. If we're not able to do it, let's find you somewhere that you can be comfortable with, and they can
Yes.
assist you in the needs that you need, not what
Yes.
we think you need.
Yeah. So one big thing is too, we're a non-religious organization. So a lot in our space, they're Christian or God-based and things like that, which is great and phenomenal. And all of that. We're not, doubting that. However, though, we try to take those barriers out because I know for myself, I question my higher power after going through these losses. Like, why does this happen? And so we point people in the directions of going to the religious organization or their spiritual whatever it is, to turn to them for those answers and questions and talking through those things, because we don't want to alienate someone from our group, because we're talking about our losses and making it all about that and uniting lost parents beside one another. So that's also a really big thing.
Awesome. Yeah, because if you're trying to, go down that religion road, which sometimes can be a little touchy subject for some people, instead of trying to work out what they're looking for,
Yeah.
can make that a little bit more difficult of an experience for them, which I know is not something that you guys are wanting to have everybody feel. So it's amazing to take that extra step to make sure that if you're not able to, you guys will go the extra mile to make sure that the people that have come for support have a place to go. Absolutely
Absolutely.
amazing. What
Absolutely.
moments, milestones, or projects have shaped the growth of your organization?
Oh, okay. So Our state ambassadors. So we are a national company. We started in Pennsylvania, but have really grown based on relationships that we have, board members that we have, and things like that. So breaking it out per state and opening those state chapters have been very important. So we are looking for more lost parents to join us in different states and different counties. So that has been really instrumental for us. We have several now. And then that also allows us to host different events in those states and spaces. So Bereaved Mother's Day is coming up. It's going to be in May. I know it's hard to think past Christmas right now in the new year, but in just a couple months, May will be here. And it's always the Sunday before Mother's Day. We do our Bursting Bubble 5K walk and runs. And so I know we were talking pre-show. Bubbles are all different shapes and sizes, and you never know when they're going to burst, kind of like grief. And they look like rainbows in the sun because rainbows are very symbolic to loss. So we have bubble machines going. We have face paint. We do fun things at these events because we're really trying to build awareness around, these types of losses, things to say, things not to say, and how to sit with someone in their grief, right? And especially with these kind of traumatic losses. But in those moments too, we have held them. Last year was our first one, and we were in Seattle, Washington. We were in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Dallas, Texas, Central Park in New York City, York, Pennsylvania. And then we also held a virtual option. And this year, we're getting ready to add a couple more locations in states, which is huge for us. But that's also helping us, one, build awareness around all of those different areas. But then second, getting within the hospitals and the OBGYN offices, the fertility clinics. So then their patients, when they're going through their loss real time, they're finding us. So when they're walking out of that office without their baby in their arms, or going through infertility and dealing with their loss, it's like, okay, and complex trauma that comes along with that, here's an organization for you who understands. And
Right.
so we're trying to break down those barriers and getting in. So this has helped that tremendously too.
Awesome. I will send you an email later today to give you places that also kind of do what you do, Planned Parenthood, Echoes, and stuff like that. If you want to reach out and see about doing a touch base with them and trying to get Chasing the Rainbows into Montana, I think that would be kind of awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We do not have a state ambassador for Montana right now. So that would be a wonderful way, or if we could get somebody to host a 5K for us there on Bereaved Mother's Day. So just a shout out for anybody who's in Montana. Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
phenomenal to be
try and
connected.
get you to many states as possible, but let's
That's
at
right.
least work on Montana, yeah?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
What obstacles or challenges are you facing right now as you continue to grow your mission?
It really is sustaining some of our programs. So one thing that we have been trying to do the last, we're going into our fourth full year, is really like our trauma therapy, for example, to sustain that without, we were getting different funding sources and things like that. But funding right now has been really tough for nonprofits. Grief and trauma, mental health is something that sometimes is maybe overlooked. And our society does a really bad job of grieving just in general. Usually, if you're lucky, you get 3 days off to grieve from your job and then you have to return to work. And with these kind of significant losses, that's not long enough. So we've been trying to not have to go to an insurance-based model for our therapy to sustain that, to continue to pay therapists and things like that, and to keep that program going. But those are struggles, and making sure that we are finding, donors, people who want to get behind us and support us and understanding this mission. So that's probably been the biggest one.
That can be completely understandable as
Yeah.
if, the more I feel like the more people to help with an organization like yourself, the better the entire community and world can
Yes.
be. Because I feel like our world is starting to turn too dark and we need some light
Yeah.
pushing somewhere to try and get it turned around
Exactly.
so we can have more positive instead of negative.
Yeah. Absolutely. And feeling that
Um,
sense of connection. Yeah.
so I think the biggest is one of the steps, trying to get
Yeah.
all those supports out there as biggest as possible to let people know they're not alone. They are
Yes.
not alone.
Yes.
How do you use Printing Center USA?
Yeah, so actually we've used Printing Center USA the last couple years. and found it for ourselves to be the most cost-effective way and also high quality. So for us, we've used it for our gala booklets. And this year in particularly, worked with you, Sarah, and we were able to design our masquerade gala books, and they turned out gorgeous. And everybody complimented all of our marketing with it. And then also, we use it for flyers. We use it for basic print services that we have to do massive amounts. We use it for our support services flyers. And, we like the team there. Before anything goes to print, before we get something in the mail, we proof it. And then we also make sure it's the right size and everything like that. So we love the team there, and we feel really good about our printing services. And it makes it very convenient when we have multiple locations across the US. So yeah.
And that just makes us feel good knowing that we're doing our job and making our customers happy with their print. And I will say, I was very, very proud of that gala book that we had made. That was absolutely beautiful. That
Yeah.
was one of my favorites.
Oh, good, Sarah. Well, and just a shout out to you. So anybody knowing this, there was some font that we used in there that actually was kind of blending with the background and wasn't looking very predominant. And it was like, unless you had like a really good eye, you were missing that, right? And having a marketing background was like, what? You saw that? And so just changing it a little bit, making it a little darker, like doing like simple changes, it completely changed how it looked. And was so grateful you caught that before we got all of them printed, which would have been on us. So just that attention to detail meant a lot.
Yep, we try to do as much attention to detail as possible. Being human, we're not perfect, but we
Right.
try to do our absolute best. And if we ever see anything, any issues, or even if we're a question with it, we always want to reach out to our customers and make sure to ask.
That's
So
great.
I'm glad that I was able to catch that as well and make sure that when you received your books, you were very happy and content, and it was absolutely perfect for the gala.
That's
So,
great.
what's your return on investment when it comes to using Printing Center USA?
Oh, interesting. I would say the return on investment for us is just the satisfaction of knowing that it's going to be handled right. And like there's no price tag on that, because when you're in the depths of planning events and you need printing services, and that's always one of the big cost factors, right? Is like the paper and the print. And just knowing that it's handled is a whole different sense of like security with it all. So I don't think there's really a price tag on that. And also, our support services flyers, we get them printed pretty frequently, and we're expanding that even more now. That's been amazing that, our cost has been kept down low because we are a nonprofit, we're a charity. So we look at every cost there is out there because we have to. We need at least 3 price quotes. And then also on top of that, usually get a coupon from Printing Center USA, which is great too. But we can get it printed pretty inexpensively to be able to give to our hospital partners, OBGYN offices, all of that. So yeah, so we're grateful for that.
Awesome. If you had a day completely to yourself, no responsibilities, just to
Oh,
yourself, how would you spend it?
oh my goodness. I think
Tough
for me,
question.
yes, that threw me through a loop because I can go in one direction and say, oh my gosh, just like a bath and catch up on sleep and like binge a show or something like that. But then I can go in the total opposite where I'm like, oh, I would travel somewhere for like a day trip and just spend that whole day exploring, eating by myself at restaurants or cafes and just like checking out a small town. I love like those Hallmark type movie town feels. So picking one of those and just going around. Yeah. And I love a good thrift shop or a consignment shop. So I could see myself doing something like that too. Yeah.
Awesome. Heck yeah, that would be quite the fun day, wouldn't it? Do some
Yeah.
shopping or some relaxing. I could
Yeah.
see where it would be hard to decide for sure. I'd be the same way. Do I want to
Yeah.
stay at home and relax in my snuggies and slippers
Yeah.
and hot cocoa, or do I want to be outside adventuring?
Yes, that's right. Right. Depends on how people-y you're feeling.
Yes, yes. Or the weather as well. I'm not much of
Yes.
a cold person, so
Yes.
this winter I will most likely be staying
I
snuggled
know.
in my home
Hibernating.
with my
Yep.
blankets, my cat, and nice cup of
Yes.
hot chocolate or apple cider.
Yes, I'm a fair weather person, so it's like I am a runner, and so I'll go outside and run. But when it starts getting cold out, that's like I'm done. Like, or it's raining, I'm done. Like I can't do it. It's not me. It's not.
I
It's
don't
not relaxing then. Yeah.
I don't blame you there. It's a little bit more stressful and makes it hard to breathe, especially with them really cold temperatures.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, last question. What is the best way for our listeners to get involved, donate, or learn more about chasing the rainbows and giving as much assistance as possible?
Oh, that's phenomenal. Whoever's interested, whoever's listening, we would love to have you a part of our organization. It really does take a team, a village, a community of people to really make this possible. If it wasn't for our volunteers and donors, we wouldn't be where we are today. So if you go to chasingtherainbows.org, we can get you connected immediately that way. You go to our contact form, you fill that out, literally 3 questions: name, email, and then the purpose, right, of whatever you're sending us. That's if you need services, if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate. We also have a donate button right at the top of our website in the right-hand corner that we make it so easy for you there to donate if you'd like to. We also do have a major donors page. So if someone's interested in, stocks or using their donor advised funds and things like that, we are able to accept that as well and happy to work through that with you with our financial team. And then for volunteering, always looking for people to get trauma informed trained and help with our support services, or to help us with hosting events if somebody wants to go to action and volunteer in those ways. So, or become a state ambassador and start a state chapter or an in-person support group. But they're the major ways.
Awesome. So you guys heard it here. If you're wanting to help donate, spend some time with helping them, give support. If you want to look into volunteering for the organization and helping every mother or family that needs assistance, go ahead to chasingtherainbows.org, or you can go to their Insta, Chasing the Rainbows Inc., to help follow and see what's going on. Don't forget, if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out and they will get back to you as soon as possible. They will not let you down. Other than that, that is a wrap on an episode of Behind the Print. Thanks to our listeners for joining us as we explore the artistry and innovation of printing. Remember, having a strong vision, building the right strategy, and using tools like print to amplify your message will make your brand stand out from the crowd. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to get your sample pack today from printingcenterusa.com and share it with your fellow business enthusiasts. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying, and remember, there's always more to discover behind the print.